There is a doubly faulty version derived from the monetarists, and it is reflected in the theory of the school of rational expectations. In the last quarter of the 20th century, rational expectations theorists came together around what is known as new classical macroeconomics, and they developed an analysis according to which economic agents are like supermen and superwomen, and are capable of making correct and precise predictions of all that is going to happen, based on the information they access in the market. So, in the view of these theorists, regardless of what governments do, and whether or not they inject inflation or credit expansion, etc., economic agents accurately predict everything that will happen, and therefore all expansionary economic policies are ineffective in influencing real production or employment. It goes without saying that rational expectations theorists are practically the quintessence, so to speak, of error when it comes to understanding what happens in the economy. They view the market as superfluous, as unnecessary, since economic agents are almost omniscient, and they are able to predict exactly what is going to take place. However, for the same reasons we will offer to show that socialism is theoretically impossible, and the basic reason is that the central planning agency cannot possibly acquire the first-hand information which ordinary economic agents possess, rational expectations theorists commit the very same error, but the people they suppose to be omniscient are different. In this case, it is ordinary economic agents, that is, all of us, who, first of all, are assumed to possess an accurate theory of the economic cycle and be able to agree with each other on the theory. In other words, all of mankind should take my classes and be convinced that the causes of the cycle are the ones I have identified in class. That is the first demand of rational expectations theorists. But, not content with that, they make a second demand. Not only must everyone agree on the correct theory of the cycle, and make no mistake, the correct theory of the cycle is the one I present, and not the one monetarists and Keynesians present. Not content with that, rational expectations theorists also require that all economic agents have at their disposal the first-hand information necessary to know precisely how and when the events at the various specific points in the cycle are going to take place. And this information, dear students, cannot possibly be obtained. I am an economics professor, and I do not have it. As economic scientists, we can have formed knowledge of how market processes operate, and how, for instance, credit expansion distorts entrepreneurs' decisions, generates malinvestments, and is then inevitably uncovered by the market, at which point a financial crisis arises, followed by an economic recession. But what we do not know is the how and the when. If I had that information, dear students, I would be a multimillionaire. That is entrepreneurial knowledge. Entrepreneurs generate it first-hand daily in the market. It is spread throughout the minds of the billions of human beings who make up humanity, and it is constantly being created ex novo. Take note. Rational expectations theorists demand entrepreneurs have not only formal or scientific knowledge of what really causes the cycle, which we study in class, but also first-hand knowledge which is constantly being generated, and such a requirement is totally absurd and impossible. Moreover, even if, for the sake of argument, we suppose that I have managed to convince everyone that my theory is the correct one, which it is, and furthermore, we suppose that everyone can have precise knowledge of what is going to happen, the how and the when, even so, the cycle will continue to occur. For what we cannot do is consider the market superfluous or unnecessary, as if we could type its data into a computer and a result would appear at the speed of light. The market is a social process of creativity and discovery, and even if, from a theoretical standpoint, we all have the right idea about how the cycle develops, and we all have access to the first-hand practical knowledge generated, if we believe we can get out in time, before disaster strikes, then of course we will accept the money created from nothing by the banking system. We can make a lot of money by purchasing at old prices and selling on the stock market. For instance, capital goods, when their prices are high, before the stock market crash. So, as I write in the book, one does not look a gift horse in the mouth, or gift money at 0% interest, like in recent years, or even at negative interest rates. I'm going to make use of it. Of course, I have taken Professor Huerta de Soto's classes, and I know this is going to end badly, but they are giving me the money for free. I am going to buy these goods, and I will get out in time. As you recall, that was precisely the course of action followed by one Irish economist who did business in Spain and ended up becoming a banker in Paris. His name was Richard Cantillon. He had a good knowledge of theory, as well as first-hand knowledge of what was happening with respect to John Law's pyramid bubble in the France of the regent Philippe d'Orléans. And Cantillon managed to get out in time. So, even if we suppose, for the sake of argument, that the absurd and implausible hypotheses of rational expectations theorists are confirmed, an injection of money will clearly distort the structure of relative prices, because as long as we do not view the market as a kind of automatic mechanism that operates at the speed of light, that is, provided we do not see as superfluous or unnecessary the social process of discovery, which is the market, many economic agents can make a lot of money if they manage to get out in time. Now, just as is true of monetarists' equation of exchange, which we have just critiqued, the theory of rational expectations contains a tiny grain of truth, and Mises recognizes this in his analysis. He points out that to the extent that different economic agents become victims of the banking process of credit expansion throughout their lives, and again they are led to invest unwisely, after which they have a terrible time restructuring their business activities if they do not go bankrupt, the second or third time around, they say, "Just a minute, before I take the plunge, let me see if this shows any sign of coming from an injection of money or credit expansion. They are going to have to work hard to persuade me to accept cheap credit a second or third time." This explains something we were saying the other day, that when a process of credit expansion takes place, the market tends to uncover the errors right away, and 6 effects appear, which halt malinvestments and lead to their collapse, beginning with a financial crisis. We said the collapse can be delayed by injecting more money, giving more alcohol to the drunk. But at what cost? We can thus temporarily postpone the recession, but when it does hit, it will inevitably be much more severe as a result, because investment errors pile up. I offered the example of what happened in the crisis of 2000 to 2001. Well, to sustain the bubble, more and more credit expansion must be injected, and at a progressively increasing rate. Herein lies the small grain of truth contained in the theory of rational expectations. Economic agents are not fools. They eventually learn, and in order to postpone the appearance of the 6 effects which pop the bubble, it is always ultimately necessary to inject money at a continually increasing rate to take economic agents by surprise. Monetarists in general, and rational expectations theorists in particular, believe money is neutral. They see it as neutral, as a sort of veil that does not affect the economy. What we are seeing here is that the time-based view of the process of production and the correct understanding of money connect, via the bridge of capital theory, the real side of the economy, that of entrepreneurs' real investments, with the monetary side. The conclusion we reach is that money is never neutral, not in the short term, nor in the medium term, nor in the long term. It is not neutral in the short term because when money is injected, it gives rise to unsound investments. And money is not neutral in the medium or long terms because even when all the effects appear and the erroneous investments are revealed, the productive structure which remains following the reorganization, the laying off of workers, and the effects made to come to terms with errors, etc., is very different from the productive structure which would have existed if the fractional reserve banking system had not injected that artificial money. Money is never neutral. On the contrary, money exerts a driving force. In fact, it is impossible to conceive of a monetary unit without a driving force. Neutral money would not be money at all, because the distinctive feature of money is that it is purchasing power you have in your pocket. And when you buy something, you alter some aspect of reality. Things change in real terms. By no means is money neutral, as these macroeconomic theorists from the monetarist school believe.